And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effects because Del and Joey and I wonder sometimes where Joey is and if we need to bail him out. And this is a good way of venting for like all three of us and more. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble pretty much everywhere. You can find me under that name, Saujin. If you do enjoy the show, please remember that over here on YouTube, you can click like, subscribe, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff over on the holycrapthevlogcast.com website that might tickle somebody's fancy. It could be yours. I don't know. You could pass it out for Halloween gifts this year. I got nothing otherwise. Top left-hand corner of the bingo card where I had a little too much fun at his expense Friday night about the weather. Hi, Dallin.
Hello, and, don't worry about it because by this time next week, all that white stuff will be gone.
Yes, there is that. And, forgive me for wincing a little bit. I had something pop up on the YouTube page that I've got all the stuff going on for the streaming, and I reactivated that window and that blue box, whatever it was, went away. So I don't know what it said. I hope it's not something bad. I don't know. Whatever. And from down to the right in the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget, good evening. Well, an evening at least.
Yeah, it's an evening. Hi, everybody. I'm here, and I'm very excited about the show topic.
I was trying to figure out what in the hell to talk about with, as usual, I don't like to talk about any particular thing to do with America or the Americas because I don't, I want us to have a much broader appeal that would make sense to people. And when it came down to somebody who had an incredible guest appearance on Happy Days, I had to jump on this. I just had to.
Well, and I mean,
he did.
Yeah, and if we're being honest,
and we should,
he's one of the guys that, let's face it, he's one of the reasons we're here right now.
Yeah.
One of the inspiring members of. Forgive me for saying this, but the skeptical community that I think got a lot of us into saying, and again, I'm going to be borrowing this from a couple of my English friends, Doc, Xavier, I do apologize, but it smells like shite.
Yeah.
And
makes perfect sense.
So.
Yeah. So for those of you that are paying attention to us live, of course, on YouTube, hi, welcome down. If you do join us, you can always join in over on the live chat, which at the moment, Stephanie is there, I guess. Normally, Stephanie would have chimed in and said, hi, I see you guys, which makes me worry that we're not streaming correctly, but everything I've got says that it should be. So, I'm just going to trust my instruments.
I actually have the video on another screen here.
Oh, do you?
We're there.
Oh, good.
Of course I got it turned down because, I hate to hear my voice.
Right out.
Yeah. I mean, I get a preview window too, but if I have that running, whether or not there's audio to it, no.
Iffy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got the Stephanie seal of approval.
Good.
All right.
Here and all is fine. So
appreciate
we're
good. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, appreciate it. See, when I'm DJing, I have a very, very quick delay in my ears, like on the order of like milliseconds. So, for me to hear, those talkback machines that are supposed to break somebody's concentration so they can't, talk because it feeds their words back to them. Yeah, I deal with that kind of thing in my head all the time when I'm DJing. It doesn't even bother me. I don't even think about it.
I used to, but I found a way to turn that off in on my DJ software. Now, what that, of course, that means that I lose a little piece of slightly positive feedback. But then again, to date, it hasn't blown up. No. And I don't get that, I'm about to say something, and then just as I say I'm about, then it starts in my headphones, and it actually throws me off track. I freaking hate that. And I
I know.
Yeah.
honestly, when I first started doing that, I actually had to close my eyes and concentrate while I was trying to get through what I was trying to talk about. And having to close my eyes made it really tough to do the WTF news segment. So I had to learn up real fast.
Yeah, I completely understand that. So as a sideways, by the way, while I'm
Mhm.
doing the 5 minute freestyle, you two are going to have to kind of discuss in text with each other, and try to
Okay.
figure out who's going to get that last horrible scope.
Okay.
Because
Okay. I
yeah,
gotta have a look.
yeah, if you're not technically minded, it's gonna be a little bit of a problem, child. So you guys discuss who you think should get it. Just reminding you that I wrote them this time, so I know exactly what it says and what it means, and I got no problem with covering it. So we'll figure it from there. So while they go ahead and try to figure all that out, how about I go ahead and get us rolling over here with the 5 minute freestyle? So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5 minute freestyle starts right now. This time it's calibration, and I figured something out for myself. And this is going to sound stupid as all hell, and forgive me. I finally realized what it is that has been banging. The reason why I and so many others have been banging our heads against a wall trying to talk to these people on social media, in person, to try to explain to them the guy that you are saying you want to vote for is a feckless hump. It's probably the nicest way that I could put it, but you get the idea. These people who are showing the hypocrisy, those that have got what would seem to be otherwise no moral fiber, or morals of any kind, it would seem sometimes. You pretty well get the idea where I'm going on this. It's because there is a decided lack of common calibration. A lot of folks who are, and I'm hyper generalizing here, so please forgive me, on the quote unquote capital L left, are the people who, again, you know, uh, those who are considered otherwise the elitist, educated snobs, put it that way. They are the ones, I was going to say we are the ones, they are the ones who typically will expect what I've said before, decorum, to be respected, for that to be how you're going to comport yourself in a particular situation. Whereas those who are, again, hyper generalizing here, on the capital R right, don't care about such niceties. It's win at any cost, win at every cost, win regardless of what needs to be done. So here's what it is that I finally realized for myself. Until and unless someone starts out with agreeing to basic tenets of reality, of logic, of reasonableness, there is no reason to talk with them anymore on a particular subject. Now there's going to be people who are going to be like, well, no shit, Sherlock. I know. But here's the thing, though. For us to go ahead and tell somebody, I'm not going to talk to you on this subject anymore because you don't know how to compose yourself in a manner that makes sense. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and they're going to blow up. Yeah, whatever, fine. But we have the ability of then following that up with saying to whoever it is that's following the discussion, here are the facts. Boom, 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 boom. Here are the citations, by the way. Boom, boom, boom. By the way, do that any opportunity that you can, seriously. And you can get away with saying, I will not discuss this topic with this person because they refuse to acknowledge fact 1, fact 2, fact 7, whatever it is. Now, yes, this can make folks like us who do this appear to be the elitist snobs because we don't want to talk with we don't want to talk with the pigeons that are flying around on the chessboard, knocking over pieces of shit on the board and saying they want everything because you don't know what you're talking about because I'll just blow a hole in you with a shotgun and hold the you know what I'm talking about. But at least we can get the point across that there is a serious discussion to be made. And until and unless those calibration points are acknowledged and taken in and followed, there is no reason to keep on with these people. Don't bang your head against a wall. Don't keep doing it. But there's nothing wrong with knocking on the wall every once in a while to just say, hey, just because I'm not banging my head against the wall don't mean that I don't have a point. And if you want to listen to it, I'll give it to you. Just make sure that you follow these points while we're going along, would you? That'd be great. Episode 334 on the docket, Your Honor. Amazing thinkers are just people. Now, I had a little bit of fun with this because there are two double meanings in all of that. James Randi, the amazing Randi, of course, we know full well, died. And, I got to thinking about what he would do, especially in the 70s and early 80s, with debunking folks around the world and on TV. And let me tell you, some of those were great to see. He was a just man. He followed in the steps of Harry Houdini, who got sick and tired of being taken in by people who were going to do a seance to bring his dearly departed mother back to him. And he pissed off those seances like you would not believe. People knew what he looked like. He got into costume, into makeup, so that people couldn't figure out who he was, but he still got in and he debunked them over and over and over again. Randi did the same thing. He was a just man. He used his skills to fool people, to show people why they were being fooled. And I can't think of a better tribute to him than to say, yeah, let's go ahead and do our best to help educate folks in your stead. Because, it's kind of what he taught us to do. I did go up looking up information about Raif Badawi's condition. We have no new information. There are, of course, the calls for the government to release him from prison again. Unfortunately, at this point, we have no new news on him. So, as of the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 8 years, 4 months, 9 days since Raif Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes, our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. So, you put your clocks back on the last Sunday of October. Well, that's gonna suck. See, and this is part of the reason why I use Eastern Time Zone and UTC, because the show records. I've traditionally held it at 12:05 a.m. Eastern Time here, east coast of the Americas, because, well, there's reasons. But then I have to adjust for, daylight savings time or whatever the hell it is that goes around. And that's why I use UTC as well, so that everybody else can figure it from there. I'm sorry. Personally, I would much rather have everything just, everything's based off of UTC. Boom, done. That'd be nice. But I can't exactly have that now, can I? And
because math is hard.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I
Living
know
in a
what
circle.
my DMT is, but to each his own, I guess.
Yep. Oh, and I see. Oh, you want to be brave, do you? Okay.
Good, good, good
Okay.
find.
Well, that being the case, then let's go ahead, do the horrible scopes, and then we'll run into this whole thing. And when I say that, yeah, I'm expecting that this is going to be really interesting. Yeah, last week it was all quotes from Mr. Rogers, which went over great for a lot of folks. This week is back to me. You're welcome. And when I say that the last one is, I know exactly what it says and what it means. Yeah, you'll see. So, for those of you that are ready with your horrible scope, if you do know what your astrological sign is, great. Those of you that don't, ask your Google device to roll a d12 and make it up as you go along, because it really doesn't much matter. Doesn't really much matter. So, let me go ahead and I'm kicking it off. It said, right? So, let's get you rolling over here. So, Aries, go to the local thrift store and get yourself some Bad Religion. Their last album was released May of last year on CD and vinyl, so it should be worth about $2 today. The stylus for your record player, though, that's going to be a little bit more expensive. Funny enough, I thought that those things were like about $200 a pop. No, you can get replacement cartridges for like a bag of 4 for $6. So, not bad.
Yeah. Well, no, given the vinyl's kind of making a comeback in some places, and there's a Sunrise Records store at one of the malls I used to go to.
Oh wow, I haven't heard of one of those in a long time.
Yeah, no kidding. But if you go there, you can actually pick up a turntable that plugs into a USB port.
Oh, one of those ions?
I don't know the brand, but it's a full blown. You can play your records and basically port them to USB, or port them through USB to your computer, probably to record MP3s, or some people have a home theater system on their PC that's better than most of those ones we used to have in our living rooms.
Yeah, there's that. Oh, and by the way, TP, hi, welcome down. I heard your interview with Rebecca. That was a lot of fun to finally hear your voice. You sound a lot more mobile homish than I remember. So that's good on you. So there you go. There's a joke in there for you.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Taurus, go through some old boxes in your house this week. You're going to find some long lost family recordings. Now you better find out who's in them and from when it was recorded. Remember, blackmail works best when the statute of limitations is still a viable threat.
It's true.
And I take the long way home this week. Not for any reason other than to get some last looks at the leaves on the trees before the snow comes. Unless you live in an urban cityscape, then you can just imagine what it would be like if we'd gotten flying cars. People have a hard enough time with traffic circles. Imagine adding altitude to the mix.
I know. Stephanie, I know. Roundabouts, I know.
Roundabouts, I know. Traffic circles in the States, roundabouts in the UK. Yeah,
I know. But see...
We never went metric either, so...
Yeah, see, the problem is every time I say roundabout, all of a sudden I go... It's a visual joke for some people.
Well, I go, yes, song.
Yeah. That's a visual joke for those of you that are listening. You should take a look over in the YouTube, whatever the hell. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Cancer Moonchild. By the way, I did try to get in contact with the guys that I stole the idea of the horrible scopes from on Twitter to see if they could explain where the term Cancer Moonchild came from, because it started from their show.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back yet. I think it's got something to do with that cease and desist letter that we'll deal with that later. Cancer Moonchild. Sneaking kisses in the utility room with a mall Santa is not just tacky, but it's disrespectful. It's not even Halloween yet. Wait until after mid-November, at least. By the way, they don't deploy mall Santas until then, right? Yeah, that guy you snogged? It was just some weird cosplayer.
Weird cosplayer. You know, given the places we've gone, yeah,
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah. You can make an industry out of that.
Yeah, and I think they did. Anyways, Leo, your keys are missing, but at least you have a friend in a band who can help. Ask them where the key of F flat minor is, but make sure you have an escape route planned. You're going to need it.
Virgo. Who's a good doggy? Who's a good boy? Is it you? Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, good. Just checking to see if you're a werewolf. You check out. No problem. Thanks.
You know, given the whole cosplayer thing, all I'm seeing is half the fursuit cast at Anthrocon responding to what you just said. And it's hilarious and creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted. It's both.
You think you're conflicted? I'm the one that's
conflicted. Yeah, you're conflicted. I've seen this.
More importantly, he's seen the Tribble fursuit, which does not have a tail and does no longer exist, by the way. Yes.
But thankfully, I had something for that. Hallelujah. Cut to my 26 of rye.
Libra. Okay, so Libra, we're back to giving you sound advice for work now. So, have you considered becoming a data load balancing expert, Libra? Yeah, it's pretty easy if you specialize only in laptops. All you have to do, pick it up, hold it overhead, shake it side to side while twisting it. Eventually, you'll hear the data shift with a thunk, letting you know it's finally evened out inside. All those days with an Etch-a-Sketch, trademark, finally came in useful. And remember, Etch-a-Sketch smoke. Don't breathe this. There's a handful of people that actually remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I used to have one.
Yeah, me too.
Anyways, Scorpio. Your most life-threatening medical conditions were entirely preventable. But your parents decided to bang uglies and let the chips fall where they may. And now, here you are. Completely your parents' fault.
You know, that's twice you went ahead and you said, let the chips... What did you say? Let the chips fly?
Fall.
Fine. I'm changing it because there's no... You know what? You did it twice that way. Fine, you know?
Okay,
fine.
Look.
No, it's fine.
All right. Mr. Passive Aggressive.
Curious. This week you'll be very pleased with the decision that you made. Mostly because you not only thought you knew what you were talking about, but you were right. Congratulations. But now that we're told you about it ahead of time, have we accidentally altered the future and given you a false sense of future accomplishment? Oops. Sorry.
That's how it works out. Capricorn, listen carefully. Just because you don't eat out as often as you used to doesn't mean you can't eat out more. If we have to explain this one to you, you weren't paying enough attention. Get your head into the gutter more often.
What was the old subtext for TGIF? Some people go there. We live there.
Yeah,
anyways,
there's that.
Yeah, keeping on with the innuendo. Aquarius, this week will bring you great joy. Mounds don't, says you. If you are now wincing at this repressed melodic memory, that means the marketing department did well.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Now,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah, is this okay?
Here we go.
Okay, Pisces. Remember this. There'll be a test on this later. Lambda in meters equals the speed of light in meters per second divided by frequency in cycles per second. Good. Now use that answer, multiply it by the velocity factor of the coax, which, knowing how cheap you are, will be RG58. So that would be 0.535. And you're not bothering to pay any attention anymore, are you? Fine. Good luck on that FCC test. You're going to need it.
And those are your horrible scopes for this week. For those that completely appreciated that one, did-da-da-da-da. There are a handful of people that actually understand that, and congratulations, you're my straight keys for tonight. Yeah, there's another one that most people are not going to understand. I have no idea what it is that she's doing right now. All I can guarantee is that it has nothing to do with alcohol.
No, it was Morse code for YYZ.
Oh, yes. Yes, I forget about that. Yeah, YYZ.
Or in Barbarian, that's Z, okay?
YYZ, otherwise known as...
YYZ in the Barbarian.
Yes,
yeah.
YYZ, otherwise known as... Isn't that an airport up there in Toronto? No. Yeah.
Airport code in Toronto also happens to be an instrumental by Rush that was inspired by the Morse code on the transponder coming back to the airport, named YYZ. How cool is that?
Otherwise known as Pearson International Airport. To the best of my recollection, the international part goes across the border with the U.S.
Yes.
Yep.
Been there, done that, had a great time. But due to COVID, who knows when I get to do it again? Yeah.
Well, legally.
Legally. Yeah, but I mean, they'll stop me at the border. That's the thing now. So yeah.
I mean, you could threaten that you're gonna blow up from. I was gonna say Chipotle, but no, Chipotle is actually good.
No. Look. Just tell them you're going to Alaska. You'll be fine. We talked about this.
Yeah, no, you're right. We did. And I was one that was very upset about that one, but that's a whole other issue for later.
I try to do things legally if I can. I have a passport for a reason, but because of COVID, can't come up to see you. Sorry. Where's that sorry?
Dallin,
from the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Could you take a look at that?
Oh, the what Unread Tech wrote? Yeah, to that all I can say is why am I not surprised? And for the posterity of the audio version of this show, which I'll plug later on, Unread Tech said the answer to the FCC test is Ron Jeremy. And then TP Seeker just you think you had cringe now, but to quote Skippy the Magnificent, hold my beer. Oh, poor RJ. Hate to see the movies he's making now. Making now.
I'm just going to go out and put this one out there and see what happens.
I'm sorry. I know who that is, and I'm sorry. I've never seen, but I know.
If he didn't have a cameo in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, somebody missed an opportunity. Just saying.
I am entirely too sober for this show.
I'm sipping here. I'm drinking water. Okay.
Through your sinuses?
It's going to be coming out that way shortly.
On my keyboard. I'm so.
See, there's a long-standing unwritten rule for the Friday night radio show that any opportunity to make somebody who says they're going to take a drink to effectively nasally accelerate said drink halfway down, you are morally obligated to have to do that. So
at least you don't owe me a new keyboard. My timing was good. And my drink is not sticky.
Okay. I can get away with saying this. Keyboard bukkake is expensive. We know. We know. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway. So all right. So let's deal with the let's deal with the situation in the best way that we can, with as much entertainment value as we can get out of it. Death itself, we know full well, sucks. There are no happy parts of death. However, as we know full well, when you go down Nolan's way, it is not about mourning the dead. It is about celebrating the life that they led, that you were part of it. Although I don't know if I like Dixieland or not, or it's just, I mean, the idea of everybody soloing at the same time, whatever. Is what it is. What did you put it over? What is,
in case you're wondering, what I put in there, this is from George Robb.
I was wondering.
Yeah. When he did, of course, George Robb being a musician / podcaster extraordinaire.
Rob.
Yeah. Hey, look, I did about 3 hours worth, or no, I did about 2 hours worth of narrating today, so my throat's a little shot.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Anyways, for the opening of the Amazing Meeting 2014, he did a song dedicated to James Randi. And if you've ever heard the song Happy by Pharrell. I can't remember his name. Pharrell, yeah. It's done to that tune. And I remembered hearing it on the Geologic podcast. And I'm like, I wonder, could there, will there be? And YouTube delivered.
Of course it does.
Yeah, threw that link in the notes, and yeah, we got to put that one in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we end up doing that.
Is that Emery in the video?
It could be.
It is. I know that guy.
I have to take your word on that. See, the problem is over on my screen, it's the video thumbnail is very blown out. It's got a lot of white to it, and the reason why when Dallin said it was George Robb's video, it made perfect sense, because if I looked the right way, if I squint the right way and kind of, reduce the amount of photons that are coming into the back of my head, I can just make out that bald pate of his reflecting all the sunlight into the camera, which explains why it's all blown out like that. So
yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, I get that too, believe me.
I actually want to have him on the show, and I don't know if I'm going to get him now that I said that.
I know, right?
George, we had a great talk a couple of years back.
Yeah, we
different
did too.
Well,
I got him to laugh. I got him to laugh at Canadian money. So
you got him to trade eyeglasses. Don't start, man.
Hey, that was his idea, not mine.
Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, all he said was, "Hey, take a picture. Okay, here, give me your glasses." That like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, no. After that, I think it was during the first intermission, I went up and I went to buy his CDs, because
why not?
if I'm buying a physical CD from somebody who does most of his stuff digitally, that's a gesture.
Yeah,
a major gesture. And now that I think about it, I've got about 2 or 3 people who I owe physical CD money to, but I'm broke because I don't have a job. Anyways, and so dishing out the money, and it was the new money. It was the new $20 bills, the ones that we have now that are plastic, basically.
They're good. They're good bills.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so he starts talking about, I guess the first time he ever saw one of those, he was at a bar up in Canada, and something, I guess, got spilled on the money or something like that, and he saw the bartender with a relatively clean rag actually wiping down the money to get the crud off of it. And I said to him, like, "Isn't that illegal?" And he looks at me funny. I'm like, "Well, the Washington, isn't that money laundering?" And he just looked at me like, "I can't believe I let you get away with that." At least he got a laugh out of it.
Bridget, is he done?
Oh, no, I mean to continue, please. I mean, yeah.
I got one more from that show.
No,
It wasn't
sure,
me
yeah,
though.
go right ahead. I don't know, it's fine.
Back in the day, George was very heavy on Twitter with one shots, puns.
Yeah.
You know, Doc Waxon level puns.
I know.
So much so that he created the Twitter song.
Oh yes, that's right.
Awesome. Amazing.
And he performed the Twitter song at this gathering that we were at. Well, he was not the one who did the verse, who did the song itself, because he was too busy playing the guitar. And he had to...
Who'd he rope in?
Nathan Phelps.
Oh, wow. Yes!
Okay.
You know who Nathan Phelps
No,
is.
I know. It's just, I'm trying to remember.
I've never heard him sing, but yeah.
Well, I've tilted back a few beers with that guy. He's a great person.
Yes.
Make no mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Homeboy trying to keep a straight face while he was doing that. Worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
See, the only person I remember who did that, although I don't even remember the song, was Phil Plait.
You know, if Phil had been there, he probably would have done it. But
yeah.
You know, turns out Nathan just happened to be there. It was being put on by the local
some skeptic group or other, I bet.
Well, no, it was the big one, the CS. Is it
CFI?
Sorry, CFI. Thank you, Center for Inquiry.
Yeah,
I've been out of that loop for so long that I forgot it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, my Venn diagram looks a little funky. You would be amazed.
But that's what makes things interesting in life.
Yeah,
you know, get out of your bubble. Like, do a little bit of mingling with other bubbles, and you'd be amazed the kind of stuff you can come up with, and you actually come out of it a better person.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good jumping off point that we jump into. Center for Inquiry, CFI, has its national headquarters here in the Buffalo area. Where I live, it's about a 45-ish minute drive from here, and they have had, I don't know how they're running it now, if at all, because I haven't checked in a long time, but they have traditionally had a secular Sunday meet, greet, and talk. And, you know, folks would come in for 10 in the morning. They'd have coffee, they'd have orange juice, bagels. They're acceptable bagels. I can get away with saying that. And, have a topic to talk about, and a round table, and, the whole thing. I would go there once in a while, and Tiny Tribble would come with me, reminding you that this was 10 in the morning after getting to sleep after one of these shows, sometimes at 3:30
in the
local.
morning.
So, I would occasionally show up and be like, I'm here. They knew that, a lot of them knew, because I had said that, I do a podcast the night before, so I'm still I'm here. Don't ask me how I drove here, but, I'm here.
Yep.
And get between me and the coffee, and there's going to be a problem. And the Center for Inquiry is a lovely organization. They've done a lot of good for getting people together who may not be necessarily seeing eye to eye on many other things, but the idea that they can get together and everybody can basically say, okay, let's actually have a proper discussion about stuff and hash out what it is and suss out the reality of whatever the topic is and go from there. You don't have to agree on economics. You don't have to agree on doctrine of whatever the hell else. But the idea of having people just be able to get together and just, talk instead of yelling and screaming at each other and making accusations, hey, A1. Now, James Randi, and Bridget's going to pick up the ball on this one a little bit because she did a lot of reading up. She was very happy to tell me before we came on to air, by the way. James Randi had kind of done something not quite the same, but in the same vein of doing a lot of skeptical inquiry, and kind of started his own group, which intermingled directly with the two. And Bridget, if you've got a piece to go ahead and pull that together now, that'd be a great spot.
Sure. I know that, one time he was with, I forget the name of the organization, the original name and stuff, because, I
don't remember what it was.
I don't remember.
I think it was something like the James Randi Foundation.
He's got the no, that was later, JREF, the James Randi Educational Foundation.
Yes,
later. But years ago, he was with another organization, and when Uri Geller filed a lawsuit against him, he was on the board. Yeah, they had to distance themselves because they were afraid of, his being a legal liability to them, and removed him from the board.
Yeah.
But then when they came back several years later and came back as CSI, which I'm not sure exactly what that was either, they voted him back on the board of that. This is way before JREF.
I think that would have been Central for Skeptical Inquiry.
Probably.
Oh, and by the way, just so we get this on the record, quite literally, Mr. Geller, Yuri, blow out your ass. I'm sorry. Did I mute my microphone well enough for that?
No, but you're good.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see the full length of this recording, and I'll be able to see that spike perfectly.
Yeah. I've got a spot where it's really
Yeah, don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just have to explain that I remember as a kid, watching him on Johnny Carson several times.
Oh, he was a freaking hoot with Johnny Carson.
I mean, he was. And my dad and I would watch, and he's like, check this out and everything. And I loved the fact that he was a magician, but also able to prove how people who were fraudulent in claiming to have psychic powers, like Uri Geller and Popoff and those people, was able to reproduce what they did and show it to be a farce, and then explain how it was done, and it would ruin those people's reputations and all this other stuff. But he did it for the public good, especially when it came to psychic powers and things like that. And he never called himself a debunker. He hated that label. He preferred, an investigator, and that is what he did.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, this is a personal anecdote, but every year in Las Vegas, they would have something called, TAM. It was the Amazing Meeting. That was put on, by the James Randi Foundation. It was a big fundraiser, and, way out of my price range. I'd always wanted to go. And the first time that I met James Randi was in Washington, D.C. back in 2010. And that scowl that he wears intimidated the daylights out of me. And so I quickly introduced myself, but I was shaking like a leaf. It just, I just wanted to say hi. I didn't get a picture or anything. I was just like, I'm so glad that I got the chance to meet you. And then I bolted. So anyway, in 2012, I'd always heard all these wonderful stories about going to TAM, but that was, like $1,500 minimum just to even get in the door, and way, out of my price range. And so this person that went by the label Surly Amy had wanted more female representation at these kinds of events because it tended to be mostly males. And so she raised enough money to give grants to 6 women to be able to cover the fees to attend, TAM. And just as a lark, I figured, why not? I sent in an essay of why I wanted to go and, what my background was and all that. And then I got notified that I was one of the 6 and I got to go. And it was literally life changing for me. I got to meet, James Randi in person, and he knew that I was one of the grant recipients because there were 6 of us, and we had, I survived TAM 2012, and surly people or whatever it was. It was the surly chicks, and he stood up and had like tears in his eyes and gave me a big hug, and he said, "Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad that you're here." And I got a picture with him. And then after he, was done with, his, presentation at the convention and demonstrated overdosing on homeopathic, sleeping aids by eating the whole bottle.
Yeah.
He grabbed me in the hall later and thanked me again for coming, and just started chatting with someone else. A couple of other people pulled chairs up beside him, and I sat in the floor in front of him for about 2 hours and talked about his childhood and all these wonderful stories. And he was a big fuzzy, well, not big, he was shorter than I am. But he was such a fuzzy teddy bear and had such a great sense of humor and a wonderful storytelling nature that just sucked you in. And my husband sent me a quick, phone call, which he was just checking because, you lose sense of time, especially in Las Vegas. And he's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "I'm sitting with Randi right now." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I gotta go. Bye." And that memory will last me the rest of my life. I mean, it was just such a wonderful thing. And then that opened up my whole world, because I met so many people at that convention. George Robb, Emery, Heather Henderson, all those people, hung out with them for a whole weekend, and we're still friends. And that completely changed my life, just going to that and meeting all of these wonderful people that I would have never met otherwise. And I still keep in touch with them throughout the years and run into them in cons over and over again. I mean, my family gets bigger with every con.
Yeah. For the record, by the way, as a side note to that, what we were saying about when you expand out your bubbles, it's amazing, the people that you meet, the interactions that you end up having. To the same angle, for those that have remembered hearing me talk about it, my wife died in 2005. 2007, I went to Anthrocon because I was told to go. And there are a number of people that I met from that very first that I am still in good contact with, still on great terms with, people that I consider friends. And in some cases, in the furry art circles, some of these people are considered, I would never be able to talk to somebody. What? Come on, let me introduce you. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, this is Eric the Schwartz. Go ahead, say hi. No, really, he's just a regular guy.
Well,
stuff like that. That's why I like having opportunities like that. Was another Sandy Schreiber, Heather Bruton, who both know me, both like me, both when we get to see each other at conventions now, the first thing is not I want to see what I want to buy from you. The first thing is, how are you doing? What's been going on with the house? How's your hubby been? What's going on with the parakeet that you've got? We're friends and people first and foremost. And that's that. What was the line from last week that I used? The most valuable gift you can give is of your honest self. And I feel like I've gotten that from so many of these people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, the craziest thing for me was 2010.
Oh God, yeah, getting to meet all
Was,
the gang.
Yeah, and that was, I can't begin to tell you just how insane that was for me, because I was just out of my divorce.
Yeah.
I had finally gotten into a place that wasn't being loaned to me by a sibling. Like I had just started living on my own after, 10 years of married life. I was low, to say the least. And then, somebody from the club pinged me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to Anthrocon this year?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I can afford it." Well, no, I mean, I didn't know. And, that was the year that it seemed that everybody from the conspiracy was going. Yeah. And
just
so,
the
arrangements were made. I flew to Pittsburgh, and honest to God, going up that elevator, we actually got onto the elevator at the Westin, and folks, back then, you have no idea.
That's a trip.
Yeah. I think they put in that floor request system on there strictly because of Anthrocon. Apparently, they've jigged something with the elevators now. It's similar to what we have in hospitals nowadays. But yeah, one of the guys from our Friday night show actually picked me up at the airport. I'd never known this person before in my life. And, we talked for a bit. We got downtown. We parked. I met another person out in the front of the hotel, someone I'd been wanting to meet for a very long time. And then we got up the elevator to the 14th floor. And honestly, as Aaron was knocking on that door, my heart jumped from my chest to my throat. Now, just to give you guys some context, I've known these people by voice and by avatar for almost 5 years at this point. These were dear friends, but I had no idea who they were physically. That door opened, and this biker-looking dude with gray hair down to his shoulders looks at me. He's got I think he had the goatee and stuff like that at the time, and he had this big smile on his face. He looks at me and he goes, "Man, you look like you need a shirt." There's another story behind that entirely, but he hands me that staff t-shirt, and I'm like, son of a bitch. And the guy was the guy that actually runs the club we're talking about in Second Life. And the next person that I meet, his wife. I'm not a religious man, but bless her heart. Because her first words to me were, "You look like you need a drink." And proceeded to pour me one of the strongest Ryan Cokes I've ever had in my life. And like I said, bless her heart.
Oh, God.
I walked into that place, and as soon as they saw the name tag, they just kind of went, "It's you. You're that cheeky son of a bitch on the Friday show that comes in all the time." And it was so awesome meeting everybody there for the first time. And you weren't there at first. We actually had to come up and get you.
Yeah.
And yeah, your first words to me, I'm using my one. "Fuck, you're tall."
It wasn't wrong.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I am a tall person, but
especially to somebody who is
not
5'9" and 3/4. Thank you, you bitch.
but no, like it's just, and again, it's been it's been friendships that have lasted now for over a decade at this point. And we've had some laughs, we've had some tears, we've shared so much.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't expanded out, if I hadn't taken that leap to go from, like you said, one bubble intersecting with another to create that Venn diagram, who knows, right?
Yeah. And that's,
you know, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, and you know, bringing it back bring episode 334, take 14, action. Yeah, I'm doing good today. Yes, I've got a set of drumsticks in my office. Yes, 2Bs, no, sorry, 5B. Nice big knuckle whackers on these.
I have drumsticks in my office too, but they're autographed by Neil Peart. Not to make anyone jealous, but I do have those. No one touches them.
Well, that's the thing I got her. I got a set of chopsticks out in the kitchen. So
yeah, but you didn't have anybody sign. Well, no, you could. You know, whatever. Anyway,
that's a very fine point pen.
Well, it's Sharpies. Where I wanted to kind of take this is that what James Randi ended up doing outside of the magicianhood and the escape artist stuff, which by the way, he was damn good at. He was damn good at. Now I joked earlier about, you know, somebody who made a cameo appearance on Happy Days, and he did, which was kind of cool. But you know, James Randi had a very long career in magic. And when he got into the investigative part, in difference, we will not say the debunking part because, you know, whatever. And I understand why he would not want to be called a debunker, because debunking is proving something false, which is not what we really want.
And it throws out a negative connotation that they've already prejudged that you're a fraud.
Yeah.
And they're set out to, that you're set up to fail against them, and that they're, trying to, create issues. And so, he preferred to be an investigator or a skeptic, and went by both. And, that's a legitimate, argument.
Yep. For instance, and I put this one, I'm going to have to add this into the show notes also. A one Mr. James Hydrick famously was shown. How do I best word it? Anyway, I'll have to find the video on YouTube about it. James Hydrick was one of these guys who, in the late 70s, mid 70s, whatever, in the 70s, his thing was that he claimed to be able to turn pages of a phone book with just the power of his mind.
I remember this one.
Yes. And he went on TV, and it was who was the MC from The Price is Right?
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker, right. Mm-hmm. I love that name. I've always loved that name because a Barker is, look it up for
like
yourself.
Like a carnival Barker.
Thank you. Anyway, yeah. But he went on the show. He demonstrated it, and James Randi is just like, okay, what I've got here is something to try to see, because I think the way it's being done is through breath, through moving air. So in order to see if that is a thing, I have these packing peanuts, and I'm going to sprinkle them around, and I would like you to now do this again. And if breath is actually what's going on, is going to move those peanuts, and if it's not, well then, it's obviously not that, and I'm wrong. So go ahead and do it. Couldn't do it. Claimed that the overhead studio lights, which, by the way, studio lights are rather hot. They really are. If you've never worked in a television studio, oh, trust me, they are. Yes, I've done a little bit of production work. Anyway, but was claiming that they were causing static electricity to build up. Now, no, But thinking about it after the fact, you know what would have worked even better and would have fit the overall thematic piece of it all? Because James would dress up in this Chinese key, I think is what it was, for aesthetic reasons, whatever. I thought about it after the fact, and I thought, how cool would it have been if he had set up instead incense sticks? Because you set up an incense stick. If you've ever burned an incense stick, the smoke comes off of the tip and will go pretty much straight up. Now, in a studio, you've also got air circulating because, it's hot, but I could see being able to, shield it a little bit from that, but, and that's not going to cause static buildup. Not by a long shot. And, oh, trust me, you would notice if smoke was suddenly going
another direction.
Yeah. But, that's me. Dry ice.
The peanuts were perfect, though, because they're so lightweight.
Yes. I would be with you on that one. I would be with you on that one. And the funny part of it is, these days, it would be relatively trivial now to be able to have a FLIR camera on on a cell phone camera, an infrared camera, to be able to detect hot breath or warm breath coming off of somebody's face. I mean, if these FLIR cameras can see somebody tooting out their backside through their pants, at night on a subway station. I'm sorry, the underground station. I know you guys over there. English, what? Do you spell underground with a? Oh, actually, you do spell underground. Whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter.
Canadians and your extra vowels.
But that's two T's. But the idea that he went ahead and, meaning Randi, thought about these things in the light of what possible explanations would there be for something like this that I would be able to hide from people doing magic work. Because doing magic work, illusionist work, is all about misdirection and hiding from people. And not just necessarily physically, but mentally as well. When you prime somebody to be paying attention to one particular thing, they will completely disregard something that you are otherwise doing deftly that they should have been paying attention to, because otherwise, the basketball video. How many times was the basketball passed back and around forth? Okay, good. Did you see the guy dressed up as a gorilla walk through the scene? Wait, what? And you go back and, yep. It's exactly that. And Randi was brilliant at it. He did one talk where he's up in front of everybody. He's talking into a microphone, and he's talking about some stuff, and he's finally like, by the way, you might not have noticed this, but this microphone that I'm talking through, yeah, I don't need this. This is a razor. This is an electric razor. I'm just going to put this down. And these glasses that I'm wearing right now, I don't wear glasses. He takes them off his face and he puts his fingers through the where the lenses should be, because there's no lenses in there. He's just like, I don't wear these. See, these are expectations that you've got because of how I presented myself, and you didn't even think about it. And it's like, holy shit, this guy is showing off the meta of the whole damn thing of how you present yourself, the whole fake it till you make it thing, except it's just in a 20-minute talk of trying to explain to people, this is why you're supposed to be skeptical of shit.
Yeah.
Rolling back to a previous episode, the first time we had Dr. Sam Conway on.
Oh God, yeah.
And the video, but the video about the hydrogen or hydro whatever, and the fact that humidifiers cause autism, or some crap like that.
Some crap. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I'm suddenly reminding myself. Yeah, he was still sober at that point in show. Yeah. I think.
But the thing is,
long story there.
The first video that I saw of that, as we were prepping for the show, I honestly thought to myself that, okay, the way he's presenting it, and the fact that he actually sounds like an authority figure when sober, I have to throw that caveat in because I know the guy.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I know I don't have enough personal knowledge to completely call this out, but it almost makes sense. And then, of course, in his final video, he basically blew the whole thing up. But yeah, it is how you present yourself, and if you present yourself the right way, and if you've got the charisma, you can Pied Piper just about anybody.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
I'm one of those people where I I'm gonna go ahead and I will say it. As much as this might be a little bit of, well, geez, shit, talking yourself up real big there, guy, aren't you? I think that I am one of those people for whom I I would be one of those personalities that has got enough clout where if I wanted to become the evil version and scam the shit out of people in some way, shape, or form,
We could do it.
I could get away with it for a while.
Hmm. But that is not your nature.
No, no, it's not.
It's
Well,
unethical, and you never would. I really
yeah,
don't think you would do that for. No, you wouldn't do that. That's harmful to people, and you don't hurt people.
yeah. I will tell you this though. I have actually considered every once in a while when I hear on some podcasts about checking out psychic medium fairs or whatever. I have actually thought about practicing and learning up the cold and warm techniques and really getting them down so that I could host my own ones for like a $50 a seat. Have people come in to do this so that at the end of it all, I could actually say, here's what we're going to do right now. I am going to give you back 90% of your money. You're going to get back 40 of your $50. I will keep just $10 if you give me one promise to never tell a soul what I'm about to tell you. This whole thing has been a lie, and here's how it was done, and this is how it's done with all these other folks.
That's different. That's a legitimate side gig.
Yeah, because I was thinking in the terms of, make it an hour, and then you're literally charging $10 an hour for each person as a tutor.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've kind of bandied the idea of being an ethical. What would be the term for this at this point? An ethical scam
Ethic
artist?
are an ethical, uh, you know, um, ethical shyster trying to point out why this is be a shyster predatory behavior.
Okay, see, that won't fit on the marquee.
No,
So
and you would have to work on the marketing and something catchy, but that
yeah, it
you'd
won't.
have to work with it.
Yeah,
But you're creative, you could do it.
it won't fit on a business card either. That's well, I mean,
Yeah,
could, but this I'll make a QR code for that. But
yeah, that'd have to be a marketing thing.
it would
You may have to
have to be.
outsource it. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other side of it all, that is something that Randy did. By the
Hmm.
way, he trained up somebody to fake being a psychic medium channeling a several thousand-year-old spirit, Egyptian or whatever the hell it was. And one of the proofs, he says with scare quotes around it. I don't know if you know this one, by the way, Dallin. The person was trained up to have a foam ball under their left armpit, so that someone who was semi medically trained could get their pulse off of their wrist, and they would squeeze on that ball, which would then squeeze on the pulse coming through, which would minimize the pulse at the wrist until it was no longer, is this person all right? Don't worry, he does this when he goes into a trance. Just give him a couple of seconds. Do you feel the pulse yet? There's no pulse. What's going on? And then open their eyes and just... And fooled people for months doing that.
Yeah, here's the thing. That trick of the putting, not so much a foam ball, but like anything under your arm to kill your pulse on in your arm. I read how to do that in a book that I got from Scholastic when I was in like grade 4.
I got you.
I remember that.
By the way, you want to talk the oldest trick in the book?
It's almost the oldest trick in the book. The oldest trick in the book right now is getting pregnant with somebody else and cooking your husband and telling him, starting a whole religion with it all. By the way, I'm laughing because Dallin was able to find the video about the basketball and the gorilla. Thank you.
Yeah, the selective attention test. There were a few others, but that was the one that seemed to be the most.
Yeah,
that one actually had a reaction video to it. So I figure at that point,
nice.
I've been watching a lot of. Not for this kind of stuff, but reaction videos to a particular artist that I've been following lately. I won't get into too much. The funny thing is, you watch the reaction video and then you scroll down to the comments, and typically the top comment is from the artist himself saying, I can't tell you how happy I am that you got a good laugh out of this video. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So you can tell right away the artist is Canadian. So
obviously too polite.
He actually is too.
Yeah. On the
yes,
other,
I know.
Yeah, on the other side of the question, but pardon me, on the other side of the coin at this point, Stephanie just said about the whole ethical shyster. There it is, ethical shyster. That's yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
So Stephanie had said, but people want to believe the nonsense. They would be very angry that you pointed out that they are mugs. I get that, but I would want to make sure that I did it in such a fashion that it was the only reason that you've been duped before and that other people have been duped before is because they weren't explained what happened.
Okay.
Because these people are professionals at what they do. They know the techniques, they know what works, and they've been using these techniques and what's worked since the what was the name of it? The photos of the fairies that took in Sir Conan Doyle?
I couldn't tell you.
Shit.
Yeah,
I know I can find it in a couple of seconds. Go right ahead. I'll look that up.
No, I was thinking more in terms of like kind of a specific application of that is Penn and Teller or Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
I almost said Penn and Gillette, but like, no, that's the same person. My bad.
It's Penn Gillette and Edward Teller.
Yeah.
And spoiler, Teller does actually talk.
Oh,
Not
God,
for
yeah.
the show, but he does talk.
No, I have actually heard him talk.
I have too.
And he is an accomplished performer and stage actor.
Yeah. But when he dropped that F-bomb in that interview, I figured, yeah, okay. I was detecting a little bit of repression there, but that's just me.
Well, when your whole shtick is that you don't say anything,
exactly.
I mean, it's the whole reason why they got Marcel Marceau in Mel Brooks' Silent Picture, and he's the only one that talks in the whole thing, and all he says is, "No, what did he say? I don't know. I don't speak French." Okay, fine. That's fucking great.
I'm gonna have to go and watch that again. Anyways,
you and me both.
Well, I've got it, so I may as well watch it. Anyways, but no, the one I remember the most from Penn and Teller was they were doing one of their shows, and it was a typical magic show. They had stuff was moving, and I think cello was cut in half at least twice or something like that. But then the curtain drops and it comes up again, and there's the same contraption they were using for the illusion, but it was transparent. And so basically they debunked themselves. You know, again, ethical shyster type stuff. You've got, and I mean, magicians, it used to be a thing. Like, that was a code.
Yep.
Like, if you told what it was, like, I don't know how far they would go in terms of outing you or offing you, for that matter. Maybe back in the day, that kind of extreme was allowed. But I mean, there were people who risked their lives and their careers by debunking these things.
Yes.
Like the floating lady. You know, they put them on a slab, they kick the table out from under them, and then they do the pass with the hula hoop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they actually showed how that was done just by tilting the camera up a few degrees so you could see the angle iron zigzag thingy, that if you pass the hoop around the right way, you'd never know.
Yep. I
was not much younger than I am right now when I finally discovered that for the first time. And it's like, so, and of course the big thing was, well, now that you know this, what is it now? It's like, well, now you can actually go into it and just say, okay, how's your performance? Because yeah, you know how the trick is done, but now the question is, okay, can you still appreciate it as art?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think that the answer to that is yes.
Mm-hmm. It is an art form.
If a master illusionist, master illusionist can still wow you after you know exactly how the trick works, but you can still go, yeah, you did fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, that's the mark of the good one.
Yes.
Yep. And that's why they started the show Fool Us.
Yeah.
Yep. And, by the way, in the middle of all that, joining us from over the pond, over into Paris, France. Good morning, Joseph. How are you?
Not bad. I would have been late in the time more normal, but the hours changed.
Yes.
And hours will change next week. So, yeah.
Next week?
Hours will.
Next
Yours
week
may already have. Yeah.
Okay.
If we could all change at the same frickin' time, it would just make it easier on everybody. But no, we have to beat snowflakes over here.
Not change it all.
Yeah, see, I'm on board with you on that one.
I'm on board there, right there. Put us on standard and leave us there.
UTC is there for a reason, goddammit.
I wish I could find the there was an old comedy duo. How old were they? They were so old they used to open for the Oak Ridge Boys, okay? They were known as Williams and Ree, the white man and the Indian. That's their title. I didn't use that. That was not a slur on my part.
Yeah.
And they had a thing that how did it go? Oh yes, it was about daylight savings time. And it was the native guy Ree was just going off. And he's like, and you wonderful white people have found a way to save daylight. You're saving daylight. In the summer, the days are longer. The sun is out longer. And little Tommy and Becky are worried about missing some rays. So Mommy and Daddy came up with this idea that would help them save daylight. They take an hour off the evening and put it in the morning. White people, you're not saving any daylight.
Not anymore, no.
It's the same amount of hours in the day. If you want to see the sun in the morning, get your honky butt out of bed and see that sun. Don't go changing the clocks around. You're not saving any daylight. I was in grade 9 when I heard that, and I listened to it so much, I still remember it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say really quickly that I'm a nice guy for the most part. Not always. I'll just leave it at that for right now. Is the way that it is. Anyway.
Yeah.
So since you're just getting the opportunity of joining us at this point, Joseph, did you have any specific memories or things about James Randi that you specifically remembered that you wanted to kind of reminisce about?
Oh, I only became familiar with him in my first years in the atheist community, and again, that's thanks to Arctic woman. But what I did see was, pretty impressive.
He was definitely good people.
Well, yeah, kind-hearted, and no bullshit.
Yeah. And he was, doing it for the right reasons, I think.
Agreed.
But one less skeptical voice.
You know, I can't think of a single instance. Now, this is just me. Now, admittedly, I don't have encyclopedic knowledge of everything and everyone or everything. I can't think of a single person, a single time where anybody had ever said that Randi was anything less than an absolute love to be around.
Not to put too fine of a point on it, but I thought there was some controversy a few years back about him, or maybe it had to do with the JREF or something. Anybody remember anything about that?
Well, obviously, I can't think of anything off the top. Oh, and by the way, what I was saying about before the fairies, that was the Cottingley Fairies. I will make sure that that's in the show notes too. By the way, Stephanie, yeah, the Cottingley Fairies. Jesus, I didn't have any alcohol tonight. What the hell? You guys don't spell that with U in the UK, right? Good. Yeah, it's fine. Bite me, whatever.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm way too easily amused, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I think there was. I think there actually was an attempt to slander him at one point, but I don't think it got anywhere.
Mm-mm. I vaguely remember what you're referring to. I don't remember the year. Oh gosh, I would have to do some thinking on back. I vaguely remember what you're referring to, Dallin, but
yeah, I did a search. I just did a very quick cursory search, and most of what I found is just they were talking mostly about his movie and the controversy it created, not for him but for his targets.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, as far as I do seem to recall that somebody tried to throw some shade on him.
Yeah,
but
he was even sued.
Oh yes,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
And what happened? He had to burn through so much in legal fees to defend himself against Peter Popoff.
That's what it was.
That he had received a $276,000 grant from the MacArthur Foundation, and they do a lot of philanthropic donations and things like that, public broadcasting, whatever. And he spent most of that on legal fees trying to defend against this lawsuit, and then ended up being able to countersue and get some of it back for filing a frivolous lawsuit.
Knowing full well that Wikipedia is not the end-all be-all, but...
Oh, my Lord. I didn't know this.
Yuri Geller.
Yuri Geller. Now, I'm going to give you the quick synopsis. Apparently, Yuri Geller got really all kinds pissed off and sued Randi because, well, he was cutting into his money because,
You ruined my career, dude.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Let's see, where is it over here? Let's see. According to Randi, Geller tried to sue him several times, accusing him of libel. Geller never won, save for a ruling in Japanese court that ordered Randi to pay Geller 1/3 of 1% of what Geller had requested. The ruling was canceled and the matter dropped. So, whatever. 91. Geller sued Randi and Psycop for $15 million on a charge of slander. Now, a lot of this has still got to do with the whole spoon bending thing. Here's where, if anybody is drinking right about now, I am going to ethically tell you to stop drinking for a few moments. Let's see. Apparently, one of the defenses that was used was to point out that the spoon bending trick was apparently shown to have been printed on the backs of cereal boxes. So this is nothing new. Yeah. Now, Dallin, what's the expression?
It gets better.
The court dismissed the case and Geller had to settle at a cost to him of $120,000 after Randi produced a cereal box which bore the instructions. Geller's lawyer... One more time, Dallin.
Gets better.
Geller's lawyer, Don Katz, was disbarred midway into this action. And Geller ended up suing him. So, to say that they are all basically just a clusterfuck of dumb.
Oh my lord.
I'm sorry, let me do this right. The truth shall set you free. I can't even talk right. I did not have any alcohol tonight. I am slurring my speech tonight, and I do not know why. I think I'm tired.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fact that it's 1:30 a.m. for you right now.
You know what? Plus, I mean, last night I was very much F off this, F off that. So, which is very weird for me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And, getting back to, Peter Popoff. I mean,
God.
I've mentioned him more than a few times on this show.
Oh, God. Yes.
And,
yes, we have.
The crappy thing about him is
that he exists still.
Well, even after that, he got trounced by Randi. And to the point where this guy should not be allowed to buy a camera.
He should not be allowed anywhere near a microphone.
Yeah. And I will shit you not on this. I was down in the States on business and flipping channels as I normally would at night because, trying to wind down from the day.
Sure.
And I see an infomercial. And it's him peddling his spirit water. And the thing is, I'm watching this and I know who this guy is. I know what he's gone through, what he's been subjected to at the hands of James Randi and another guy who is no longer with us, but a YouTube skeptic named DPR Jones, who went after Popoff with A10 warthog ferocity. It's like Peter Pop. Yeah, there's Peter Popoff. Buy my spirit water, and DPR Jones goes, Bert. I mean, no, he was actually looking at ways to legitimately defund Popoff by doing exactly what he wanted you to do. Basically, there was a way to actually make his enterprise cost him more than he was going to get in. Again, this is sort of back before, a lot of the online stuff that we can do nowadays, like, Amazon-ish and Etsy-ish even really took flight, But beside that, the bad thing about Popoff, well, guys like Popoff, Geller, and all the others, is they're still out there doing this stuff in some capacity. I would not be surprised if, I'm going downtown and I would see an advertisement, that Uri Geller is going to be doing his thing at the Jubilee Auditorium, which is a theater stage here.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of those that end up happening. There's the Long Island Medium is coming through and doing a performance in your, this in the round or what the hell was the God?
Who's that other one? Who's that other one? The pet psychic.
Oh God!
My ex-wife used to love watching her, and I was just like, "Why are you putting us through this? It's bullshit,
No, it's fake.
Vanderhoof, whatever the hell his name was, the baby face with a crossing over, whatever the hell his name was.
John, yeah,
John
actually, Brett the Hitman Hart actually went to him to talk about Owen after he died.
God damn it! But yeah, on the bright side, that one bitch is well past dead. So thank you.
Yeah, but thing is, even after people like Randi or even somebody with a hell of a lot more fame than we'll ever have are able to absolutely trounce these people and show that they are just full of crap.
Sylvia Brown, that's what her name was. Yeah. That bitch.
Yeah, but they're still able to get out there and still do it.
And that throws me on a tangent. Sylvia Brown, when I was at TAM 2012, she was also in town doing her thing there. And I didn't go personally because I was more interested in, hearing the talks and meeting people and things like that. But, the regular yearly TAM attendees who go every year and stuff, a group of them went to go greet her at the airport with protest signs calling her out on her bullshit. I thought it was priceless. They all got left together as a group and went.
Yeah. You remember earlier I said that usually I'm a nice person, but not always necessarily. I will go ahead and I will go on record as saying this. And if anybody wants to call me out on it later in life, that's fine. When I go putting in my my thing to be president in another 4 years, you can hold this one against me. That bitch can't be dead enough for my tastes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We all clear on this one?
Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious that, some of the bigwigs, in the skeptical movement, they're like, peace out. We have Sylvia Brown's in town and we have to go greet her at the airport.
Makes perfect sense.
It was awesome. Well, and then we got a report when they came back.
Yeah. No, hold on a second, though. Joseph, I mean, this whole psychic medium seance bullshit thing is still parlor tricks. It's, best of your knowledge, is that something that kind of is like a thing out that way also?
Do people buy it? Is what I guess is what she.
Oh no. Well, it's a performance.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's how people consider it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that, but unfortunately, most of my countrymen seem to not
buy into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, France is very. They kind of got over religion. Oh.
Yeah, the only reason they keep religion around anymore is for the architecture, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's still people going to the churches.
Oh.
Well,
hear the bells clamorously in panic ringing.
But to be fair, yeah, I will say this much, Joseph. To be fair, I told myself, one of my things on the bucket list is to go to Europe and do a trans-European church tour. Not for the sake of, now, see, I took a history class in university, and it was ancient medieval history. So we got to talk a lot about, the Renaissance, the Reformation, how the church went through it all. And I saw pictures of architecture that boggles the mind in terms of scale, splendor, and the fact that some of these places are over 1,000 years old and are doing a hell of a lot better than some of the things in downtown frickin' New York.
Oh yeah,
that says something.
That's
so,
fair. That's fair.
Not necessarily to go and worship, but to be able to go in and stand inside of a building that
is 2 millennia old in some cases.
Yeah, and to see, what an actual stonemason group was capable of doing back in the day.
That do you know how I want to spend my retirement? I dream of buying an abandoned church in the countryside and transforming it into my home.
Okay.
Not the craziest thing considering.
And you can buy them for like one symbolic euro if you'll take care of it.
Well, I mean, there's a church in Pittsburgh that got turned into a brew pub, and they brewed some of the best damn beer I've ever tasted.
Yeah, it's true. I'm laughing really hard because years ago, before this particular piece of property was owned by us, my wife and I had looked at a whole bunch of listings for real estate, and there was a place that was on the north side of Buffalo, actually technically outside of Buffalo proper, that was a church with a rectory, and we actually considered buying that so that we could live in the rectory part, and we could always run a house of worship that could, be rented out for weddings, or, rock bands to come in and, like otherwise off the wall stuff that would be, great gathering places and whatnot. And now I'm suddenly thinking about it in the terms of shit, wouldn't really be able to do that right now the same way, would you?
No.
But it was a great idea thinking about turning a big ass church into, somewhere where there'd be a little bit of minor mosh pitting going on. You see where I'm going with
that? You could probably have rented that place out, for, just about any death metal band wanting to shoot a video in a church, for a reason. That would have been a very nice retirement nest egg, I think, for y'all.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Yeah, but we decided to instead come all the way out here, out south, and, that's where I am. Anyway.
Hindsight, probably the best move.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, we still had the small problem of that wife died, so that's a bit of a problem.
There is that, but I honestly, in that case, I don't think location would have meant a hell of a lot of difference. No,
it really wouldn't. Anyway, but the fact that generally speaking, France is much more. No, not much more. Is much less. What's the word that I'm looking for here? Mythologically entertained than the United States. Yeah, that says something. Of course, then again, French society is a bit older than the Americas, so still got some catching up to do in the line of growing up.
Well, actually, you guys had your revolution before France.
Yeah, but, to be fair, that there was that whole, King George was a dick thing going on, so,
Yeah, well, King George was opposing Anglican religion on all the other religious factions. Who ran away to the great new US of A just to escape that.
Yeah, where we ended up getting the Puritans, and we're still stuck in that mindset by way too much of the population.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. The colonels from the UK got sent to Australia, and then we got the
it's not as simple as that. I know, but
I wish it were, though. I mean, good God, the idea that we've got people who are hanging on to mythology in this country the way that they are, just it.
Well, if you want to make it simple, you have to dig all the way down to human, make it a question of human behavior. Because I mean, if we're just going to talk about the results of people manipulating our base instincts, then yeah, we're going to be talking forever. We're going to be forever lost in the details without getting down to the source.
Yeah, that's true.
Why are people credulous in the United States? And it comes down to basic credulity. I mean, they depend. Most people, the tendency seems to be people tend to be depending on whoever's higher up than them to feed them, to wow them, to tell them what to do, to tell them how to think, or tell them how not to think, whatever. There's a very little thinking for oneself going on. Whereas France seems totally into. It seems to be totally into individualism, but that's kind of an illusion because a lot of people here also tend to rely on the system in the same way North Americans do, but they tend to be a little more. Instead of living in a groupthink bubble, they live in an individual bubble.
Saying that, using the term ethical shyster, that really was the type of person that Randi prided himself on being. I mean, I don't think that he ever specifically used the expression, but he was an educator by any other term. I mean, he brought his knowledge, his experience, his skills to the people, so that especially the younger people, and with good reason, so that they would learn. And by learning even just a little bit of what he had to teach them about, this is how people dupe you, because they've known how to do this, and you've not been taught how not to have this happen. Well, now you know how it's done. You'll go forth and multiply, so to speak. I very much like and admire that he continued to do that as much as he could. I mean, he was actively doing this for, oh God, what, since the mid 70s, I think?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's safe to say that, let's call it 40 years, just argument's sake.
And, he still showed up annually at, the amazing meetings and spoke to everyone. And then a few years ago, due to his, age and declining health and things like that, he had to step down from, the JRAF Foundation, James Randi Educational Foundation. And if I remember correctly, the $1 million psychic challenge thing they had, I think they wound that down in 2015, but will still honor. They won't accept any more applications at this time, but if you had already put in an application, been vetted and all that stuff, and you can still prove the challenge, you can still get the money. Or at least, that was the case before he passed away. I can't say if, for what happens now with the foundation. I'm just going to have to watch and see. It will probably continue on, without him.
According to this on Wiki, again, don't know how accurate it is, because just doing this off the fly.
Yeah, me too. I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah, in 2015, the James Randi Paranormal Challenge was officially terminated due to Randi's retirement from, and thus lack of direct involvement with, the Foundation. So it is entirely possible that there is a different challenge by a different group, or similar challenge by a different group, but
That's possible.
Randi's specifically is sadly no more.
Yeah.
And you know what? Randi had even said that he would be thrilled if somebody were able to claim it, because that would mean that there would be something incredibly brand new and otherwise unknown before to us, and it would be wonderful to explore and understand what that was. And I'm highly paraphrasing, but the overall scope of it was really that. And you know, when I first heard him saying the whatever it was exactly that he said, I never would have thought about that. I always thought that it was just a much more of a cynical, well, sure, give it a try. Yeah, let's see you go down in flames. All right, whatever. And then I heard him say that, and it's just like, wow, shit, that's a good point. It's like trying to learn to open up a new area of scientific investigation, and you're hoping that it's there, but until you get something that tells you it's really there, you just kind of have to wait and see if somebody's actually got something for you. Kind of like, you know, is somebody going to eventually prove string theory? I know it's not exactly the same thing, but you know,
Right.
you get the idea.
Yeah. Or parallel universes or any of that. Yeah. Until we actually find one.
Yeah.
Actually, and some of the things I've been seeing and hearing about and reading, when it comes to astronomy these days, like when you started talking about parallel universes and everything, it just reminded me of some of the things like some of these planetary discoveries
Yeah.
that they're doing right now. Hold on a sec. Let me find this guy.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Anton Petrov. He's I think he's Polish, and he's a YouTuber, and he does a lot of astronomy based videos. And I watch him once in a while because he's got just some really cool stuff that he shows. And what I can't see for the life of me is you've got, you know, they talk about all these planets that they're finding, which is fine. But now they're almost able to predict now, like how close they are to this particular star, what they might be like, based on mathematics. Like it's not based on
Guesses. It's
well,
mathematically
there's a
shown.
little bit of speculation, obviously,
Well, yeah.
but to be able to find out that, okay, based on this dot on this photograph that dims at this interval by this much, we can determine that there is a thing orbiting this dot at this particular interval, and it is this big and this far away from the star. And based on what we know about that star and what we know about our own sun and the Goldilocks zone, which is where the Earth is right now.
Yeah.
And there actually is a calculation for that. I have the book somewhere.
Yeah.
I have my old university astronomy text. I still whip that sucker out once in a while.
Yeah.
To be able to do all that based on math is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And like to me, that kind of stuff, like, you know, we can mathematically prove that kind of stuff is there. I'd love to see something. I'm with Randi on this one. You know, if I could see somebody provably use the Force, maybe not necessarily to throw a nun in front of a bus, that's a reference to somebody.
Yeah.
But you know, to be able to do something like that, I'd love to see that. Because, and it's not that it would disprove any kind of atheistic stuff or whatever that we're out there. It would just go that, okay, you've proven it. Now let's see how it works. And once you find out how it works, life is going to get very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think I did a whole thing about how magic is no longer magic when you understand how it operates. But that's just the thing. By the way, I know who you're talking about. I went and I pulled up his YouTube page because it sounded familiar. Unfortunately, this is one of those people that I watched part of one video, but then he made the very cardinal sin of saying 0 degrees Kelvin. And that's when, for me, it was like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Goodbye.
Oh, this Anton guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, might have lost something in translation, but yeah, I know.
Yeah. For those of you that wonder, why is Shujin being such a snob? It's because Kelvin is not in degrees. Kelvin is an absolute measure. So if you say 0 degrees Fahrenheit, that's one thing. 0 degrees Celsius, that's another. 0 Kelvin is the way that it is. Versus, I mean, what's has the old expression go? 0 degrees Fahrenheit is hot. 100 degrees Fahrenheit is uncomfortable for the human body. 100 degrees Celsius is exceedingly difficult for the human body. 100 Kelvin for the human body is a bad day.
Yeah. Not to be an apologist or whatever, but English is not this guy's first language.
Fair point.
Fair.
My guess, so that's my guess, is that he said it because it has something to do with how he learned English. Or
it's possible. It's
possible. And I'm also pretty sure that he probably got absolutely roasted for it in the comments.
Probably.
Possible.
That's fair.
He probably got roasted up to 100 Kelvin.
You know what? I'm maybe. I don't know. I didn't go to find out. So
sometimes the best jokes are the ones you can throw back in their face.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. It's my face. Thanks. Appreciate that. Anyway, where are we at this point? We gotta see about wrapping some stuff up over here. So, Joseph, since you've had the least amount of time, because I mean, hi, good morning.
Howdy.
We've ended up talking about a lot of stuff that we know about Randi, stuff that was kind of tangentially related because being inquisitive about stuff and showing people why things work and bringing the skill set of the illusionist out to show people how they get fooled, how they get misdirected, how an illusionist is able to get away with what they do, and how important that was for teaching, like I said, especially younger folks, and teaching people in general. Is there anything that is there anything about Randi in that particular area, or anything about him that you can remember that you kind of like admire the guy for, or want to specifically point out? Because, like I said, you're the last guy in, so I figure you deserve to have a little bit more to close out for the end.
Last guy in, first guy out.
Well, I mean, nope, too easy. Nope.
Being nice.
I am being nice. I'm shutting the hell up.
I know.
Well, I've always admired him, but to be honest, I always felt a little sad watching him because, all these people, this huge list of people that he debunked, he was practically alone in doing it. and now that he's gone, there's nobody to replace him for the time being. He was basically alone in debunking like Popoff and that. How many other people have tried to debunk Popoff, for example?
We don't have enough time for that.
And his voice seemed well, maybe we should find time. But his voice seemed to be just like lost. Because in spite of all this thing, he's presenting the facts. I mean, this is how it's done, but it's like the facts don't. He's kind of like adding an extra underline to the fact that a lot of people don't care about that.
Yeah, and his style was just so much more, straightforward and kinder than, say, Penn Jillette.
Oh God, those guys! Yeah, they're doing it too.
And they were influenced definitely by Randi. And I know that Penn Jillette and James Randi were, very, very, very close friends. Very. And Penn Jillette is not dealing with this very well.
No, I can well imagine.
But Penn does not have the same approach that Randi has. He's a little more brash. And so I just don't think that he would be able to educate as well with as much tact as James Randi was able to do. That's just not Penn Jillette's personality. To be the face of the skeptical movement to take over. I don't think we can replace James Randi, unfortunately.
Well, we could have. We followed his example.
Well, yes, but he was one of a kind, and no one really picked up the mantle to join him in that way.
Hell, if somebody was going to take the time to do that, they're going to start up with, I don't know, GoFundMe. I'd contribute.
That's an idea.
It would be interesting. I know somebody that could work on a business card for me. I was joking earlier about the idea of me being the type of person to hold quote unquote fake medium psychic medium stuff from the idea of and I know I'm rehashing a little bit, but like charging $50 a head for people to come in, learning the hot and cold reading techniques, getting them down, and having people come in for $50 for an hour show, and then at the end tell them that if they'd like to have 90% of their money back, I would do that, but they have to swear a promise not to reveal a secret that I will end up telling them, and anybody that stays gets 40 out of their $50 back, and I explain how they got duped and why it works and how it works, and because I'm the type of ethical person that would not do that as a psychic medium, because that'd be wrong, but being an ethical shyster, maybe there's something worthwhile in that for my future career. I don't know.
It's funny how most of us are, there is a skeptical community, but it's rather, you're part of the community if you listen to the show or chat in the forum or whatever, but I think it'd be quite something else to be a card-carrying skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
And just like if every card-carrying skeptic need I don't know, $20 a year or something like that but to fund, if a few key people want to take up the mantle of spreading the voice of reason or the the method of reason, then that would be an easier road to that.
Yeah.
I'd do it. Well, I'd do it. I'd pay for it. I mean, but I don't know what you guys think about that.
It would definitely prove to be an interesting possibility.
Mm-hmm.
If you get shit done, instead of just blah 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 blah.
You know, can't argue with that.
No.
Think about that. We gotta. I just realized that we're actually just getting into overtime at the moment, and I want to see about getting. I've got. You guys were paying attention to the show, listening, watching. You don't know how many items I've got that I have to add to the show notes at this point, because we've just been adding and adding and adding and adding. It's like,
you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. Every once in a while on my secondary monitor, out of the corner of my eye, I'll see something flip through, and it's just like, oh, what do we got to... Oh, it's a new picture. All right, great. There's a whole other flip. All right, yeah, that's good. Flip. Guys, cut it out.
Links.
No, but that's a good thing. Because, you know, there's so much to learn. Man, I got something that's boiling in my head, and I'm going to get to. To close off, Joseph, was there anything else that you want to add to it all at this point?
You already asked me that twice.
Well, I'm trying to play favorites, because you know you got up earlier than you otherwise.
Actually, good. I was late. But technically, well, anyways, yeah, 2 times technically late. Yeah, so I should be punished actually. But anyways, but yeah, just I think first off, let's see how things go for this election. That's going to be the yeah, and then let's decide real soon where to go from there.
It's great. Guys who are watching me on the video right now see me flipping out right about now. Yeah, that's Bridget's fault. Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome.
Did it to me again, you.
Added another link for your show notes. Yes.
I'm sure everybody listening on audio is really good at getting that.
I'm being very good. I'm being very good right about
this
now.
Is good-natured ribbing. He's fine. If he was mad at me, I would know it.
Well, I'm watching, and I don't know if I still remember.
It's fine. It's fine. All of a sudden, there's this big orange thing over on the side on my screen that caught my eye, and it's just like, damn! Yeah, just, you fine. It's fine. Those of you that are listening didn't catch that. So, for those of you that speak Italian and are watching, I'll say it again. There you go. Those of you that actually do speak Italian, I'll go ahead and I'll translate it for you. Mafango. That is the grand poobah of all Italian curse words right there.
Thank you. I remember the gesture from The Sopranos, but I can't remember what Tony said afterwards, and now I remember.
Mm-hmm. For those of you that know Italian folks, do not repeat that in front of any of them, especially if they are older than you and female.
Or your grandma.
You have been warned.
And I'm glad to see that for once somebody stole my emergency.
The management and staff of Holy Crap the Vlogcast do not condone in any way, shape, or form of speaking Italian insults to Italian people, specifically if they are older than you, female, or related to you, i.e. your grandmother. You have been warned. We're not responsible. Smoke if you got them.
What about people who identify as your older Italian?
Shut up!
If they got 3-inch heels, you're dead. You're dead. Because if they miss, it's going to boomerang, come back, and they'll get a second shot.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, God.
It's an Eddie Murphy reference, all right?
It is.
Yeah. I remember it.
Yeah. Dallin, you do your thing, because something tells me that Bridget's got Bridget's probably got something worthwhile.
Yeah, all I got to say to this is, and actually I agree with Joseph, is, God, I'm going to use a lyric from a country song. Who's going to fill his shoes? That's the big question right now, is that
These boots are made for walking.
no, it's more like we don't have the arsenal that we had even a few short years ago. They've all gone off and done other things because skepticism and atheism was boring. And politics now gets you clout and clicks and Patreon. I don't think we have anybody who's willing to step into Randi's world and keep it going. And that is heartbreaking.
But like I said before, it's like if I'm willing to pay for somebody to step up. So hey, I don't know how he was financed. Didn't he have some sort of association organization?
Well, he had the JREF, but again, you can, hell, you could offer me the money and I'd gladly step up and do it. The question is, could I do it right? That becomes the big thing, is you can pay somebody to do the job, but if they don't have the oh boy, if they lack the Randiness, boy, there's a lot of context behind that.
I get you there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But if they cannot channel their inner Randy to do the job, to carry the torch, you could throw what's left of Trump's fortune at them and it wouldn't help.
Yeah. By the way, over in the live chat right now, sorry, I didn't type. I didn't want to type right now. Karthik Clue, don't go anywhere. Please stay with us for a couple more moments, because I will address you specifically with my closing, because it kind of ties into parts of what I was thinking anyway. So just don't go anywhere away.
Yeah, I'm done. Like I said.
Okay.
I worry. I agree with Joseph that we need a replacement. I just don't know where we're going to get it. So.
Okay, Bridget, since I'm fairly certain that you're going to be trying to mentally edit really quickly what you are and aren't going to say at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I learned so much, from James Randi, and admired him, as a young kid sitting in front of the TV with my dad, who, I lost decades ago, and it still hurts. And, I learned so much from, James Randi. I have to, thank him for taking the time to do what he did, and then investing enough interest in me just for being one of the grant recipients that got to go, just to have more women there, and personally standing up and thanking me for coming and meaning it. And then the chance to actually sit for a couple of hours at his feet and just listen to him talk about his childhood and whatever. I will never forget it, ever. I mean, until I get dementia or whatever, that's a memory that I will hold on to the rest of my life, that is precious to me. And, the world is a much, sadder place without him in it. And I'm so grateful that he was here for as long as he was.
I would dare it to say that he would not qualify as. I'm trying to think of the right way of putting it. Then he would not have been considered the charismatic personality, but he was an enthralling one.
Mm-hmm.
I might be. I don't know if the connotation that I'm trying to put out there quite translates correctly out of my head, and I'm sorry if it doesn't, but I mean, yeah. So anyway, what ended up happening is for the folks that are listening after the fact, new voice had popped in over on the live chat, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, Karthik Clue, which I don't recognize the name, so if you are a first timer, welcome, thank you very kindly. Who had said, I had the syndrome called analytical paralysis, where I'm very bad about taking decisions and I just overthink about the pros and cons, and in the end, I don't get to a single thing. I'm just slightly paraphrasing at the very end there because a couple of words needed to put it in there in order to get it right there. So yes, first time. So again, thank you very much for being with us. And I said I was going to address you on this one directly because this kind of plays in a little bit to what I was thinking about closing with. Randi is someone for whom the term skeptic absolutely worked. And he worked, like we said, earlier, easy 40 years of his life to that end. As an educator, especially to the public, to specific groups, he started a foundation with the whole idea of being able to do exactly that, to train people to recognize what other people had been learning themselves, quantizing, learning how to be unethical shysters. And kind of bringing in a little bit of what Dallin was talking about earlier, yeah, you kind of get into the situation where on the opposite side of, magicians never tell their secrets, but, you've got some that do, and sometimes with good reason. But then you got the folks like Randi, who went ahead and showed that these people that have been, demonstrating these wonderful supernatural abilities and talents, and they're just parlor tricks, but people don't know that they're parlor tricks, and they're scooping up the money because they can. They're doing a performance without telling people that they're doing a performance, and that's a lie, and that's unethical. Where this comes in for how to address you specifically is this. After I lost my wife, I'm reminding you, this takes us back to 2005. I've said on many an occasion, and I will continue to say it because I still believe that for me, the expression is true. A good portion of my, maybe not my brain, but my psyche, my personality, who I am, was shattered. It's hard to overstate it. 35 years old, and all of a sudden, the love of my life that I've been married to for 12 years is just gone. How do you deal with something like that? What I had to do for a lot of months, was when it came down to trying to understand how to think about something or what to do and how to decide what decisions I should be making. I had to kind of take myself out of whatever it was I was thinking of and ask myself, how would I have thought about this before we lost my wife? And let me tell you, that's tough. That was, I can't overstate how tough that was. And sometimes I still kind of have to do that every once in a while. Fortunately, not very often anymore because, it's been a long time. But it's sometimes really, really super difficult to do exactly what you're talking about. To get through deciding how to examine something. How far should you go down the rabbit hole with it all? And it's hard. It's tough to try to figure out where that limit should be. But it's not something that you should be too worried about. When I was growing up on Long Island, the running joke was, if you got lost driving, sooner or later you're going to hit water, so you can't get too lost. When you're dealing with whatever it is that you're going to be thinking about, whatever you have to evaluate, take your time and just relax into whatever it is. Pull yourself back. If you were going to look it over and you feel like you're diving too deep into it, stop. Pull back. Take it from somebody else's perspective. Take it from your own, from a different way. If I was going to explain this question to somebody else, what pieces would be important for them to know? And try to understand it from there. And the reason why I think this is important to put out there, that goes along with this whole thing with Randi, is that he took himself out of the equation. And he thought about these things and said, I know what goes on behind the scenes. I know what goes on behind the curtain. I know what maneuvers I need to make with which hand when it's in this position in order to make the foam ball come out where I want it to. Whatever the trick is, you get the idea. But he was able to look at it and go, who isn't going to understand? Where are they sitting? What is their perspective looking at me? And how can I teach them the pieces that I'm supposed to be intentionally hiding from them? It's all about perspective. It's all about, if we look at something from a different angle, sometimes we internalize that ourselves. And sometimes it can help to not go down quite so deep a rabbit hole. Take your time with it, whatever it is, whenever it is. And from me to you, I know this is going to sound stupid and maybe over the top, but if it ever comes to a time where you might ever think that you'd like to ask a little bit further somebody's perspective like mine, contact me through the show. Anytime, it doesn't matter. Email, tweet, Facebook, it's all good. I'd be more than happy to help you out if it's something that you think that you would need. And that's something that goes out to all of our family. I don't say fans, I say family, because we're kind of family of choice. We're here. It's part of the reason why we do what we do. We're not here for the money. Sure as hell ain't here for the fame. We're here to help in our little ways. And to kind of go along with the theme of everything for this month, don't forget, we're ready to believe you. So with that, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us tonight. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and found something to kind of talk about for yourself for a little bit later. Guys, thank you very kindly. This was, I know my ending was a little longer than normal, but I sincerely hope that I got the right pieces across correctly. Joseph, thank you for being able to make it even at all, then, considering everything, and you have yourself a good, safe rest of your week, huh?
Yeah, you too, sir. I'm going to get back to my lovely weekend of hearing VPN servers.
Good luck with all that.
Mm-hmm.
No two application has the same configuration settings. Quite annoying.
Look at the bright side. At least you're not dealing with token ring cable.
Oh, like real cable you put your hands on?
Just We'll talk about coax later. That's all other thing.
You're not. At least you're not still having to deal with COBOL programming or a mainframe. It could be worse. Ugh.
But I am getting back in Fortran. But the post-1970 Fortran, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Bridget, you too. Thank you very kindly. And I want to say thank you for all the links and stuff. This, because, you know, for me now it's like, oh, shiny. Oh, wait, no. Thanks. You have yourself a good week.
Well, you too, and, you know, take care of yourself. And I guess it's time to plug all of the things.
Oh, there's a lot of things to plug right about now.
So, you know, if you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, you can find me on Facebook as bridgetfitch.10. That is, you know, on the links to the, you know, our website and all that stuff. Or find me on my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com, which I'm horrible about not updating. I really need to get back to that. And eventually we'll find some time to return to blogging after COVID is over and I'm done checking on people and making sure that everyone is safe and well and all that.
And
come on, Bridge, you got 9 days left.
I'll be so glad when this election is over, but, and I have to say this based on where I live, fuck you, Mike Pence, with a flaming cactus sideways. And you GOP enablers, fuck you too.
I was going to say, I was going to think she was starting to listen to the show last night. Oh, wait, no, I typed that last night.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, something about sideways with a lacquered bus, so.
Oh, this is sideways with a flaming cactus, too, if I get some extra help.
A fermented cactus burns better.
Well,
okay, just whatever will work. Just fuck him.
Yeah, but the whole thing about sideways, that's the point of contention.
Oh, I'm just so angry over, you know, their SCOTUS picking the bullshit that they're pulling, and I'm terrified that if something happens to Trump, then Pence will be POTUS, and he actually knows how government is supposed to work, and he's a theocrat. He's a lot smarter than Trump is. If things go sideways and Pence winds up as POTUS, I felt bad enough to have him as a governor and was so distraught to see him actually like VP of the whole country. I was like, yeah, I mean, just how things are going down.
Yeah.
Sorry to rant, but shit.
Watch the latest Borat.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I fully intend to do that for comic relief, and I'll probably pay twice to see it.
And you can see him in there. He's like just bold fucking face lying.
I know, but from what I have seen on in the Twitterverse, most of the reviews are like, "This is actually hilarious. Even if it's not true, it's still funny." And I could use all the comic relief I can get because I have been so stressed.
Yeah,
they had personal losses and just everybody's having a hard time.
Yeah, there is that. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
And Dallin, did you come down to Washington State and cast your ballot yet?
No, but I was considering. Well, no, I was.
Thank you. Oh my God, I was hoping that she was going to end up laughing at this. Thank you.
Because you don't have dual citizenship and you're in Canada, and I also can see why you're like, please, for the sake of all of us, because I'm a polite Canadian, please keep your crazy down there to yourselves, for our sake.
Although I'll have to find. It's going to be one more link, but I'll take care of it after the show. An astronaut on the ISS cast her ballot via absentee vote.
How cool is that?
It is as cool as it gets.
But it sends a message.
Mm-hmm.
How important this
is. How many hundreds of kilometers up is she? And she still did it. What's y'all's excuse?
I had no idea. I had not heard about that.
I just caught it on the news tonight. I'll see if I can find it and I'll drop it in the show notes for you. That being said, I did find out that voting right now, I think in terms of mail-in or early voting right now is upwards of 50 million so far.
Mm-hmm. Turnout is huge.
Yeah, turnout is there are going to be some broken records this year. And I'll say it, whatever side it comes out on, the fact that everybody's doing it is, to me, the most important part.
Yeah.
Because it means that people are actually starting to get invested in this place in which you live.
Yep.
Way past time. Usually the apathy, people stay home, and so you have just a sliver of the population making decisions for everybody.
Well, yeah. That's usually how it goes.
Exactly.
Yep. By the way, Stephanie, I'm going to get to that in just a second. ISS is orbiting at approximately 250 miles or 410 kilometers up, give or take.
Thank you. I was worried about I was worried I was exaggerating there.
No, that's a good spot.
Metric.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So once all the show notes are figured out and I could do my copy paste thing, I will have this audio version of the show up on our website at holycrapthevlogcast.com, where you also have all of our other contact info and stuff like that, including a link to my blog, which, if I'm just bored or whatever, I'll throw it on there. It's over at inthewind.yo5.ca. And then, of course, on Monday, I'll be dropping my new episode of The Kick in the Cast, which is a writing podcast, me trying to actually be an author. You can catch that over at podchaser.com or at the show's website at kickit.yo5.ca.
Thank you for your time, man. As I said, everything that you need as far as contact is over at the website. If you want to leave a voicemail message, and please be creative, please. Yeah, whatever. I should use that in one of these. Anyway, phone number for the phone line is 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. What was said earlier about there's big boots to fill? There's always going to be big boots to fill. I can't talk worth spit tonight. But you know what? We don't have to fit them all. All we have to do is keep walking. He did a good job of teaching us where to go. All we got to do is just follow. So, you all take very good care of yourselves. Please be safe. And since this is still the time of the season, for those of you that are in an area where there are highways, if you're going to be driving at night, especially if you're coming to an overpass, please be exceptionally attentive. Some youth may decide that they want to try to throw things into traffic like jack-o'-lanterns. Please be exceptionally careful. If you're driving over said overpasses, if you see something going on, there's nothing wrong with waiting them out and making them just walk because of, social intimidation. If you need to call the local constabulary on them, don't hesitate. In the meantime, please be safe. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. So, as always, until then, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, of course, like I say, 15 and a half years on, I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. You dream of me. Until the next time we get together, everyone, peace and long life. Live long and prosper. And good night.